Of course, as Lawrence heads up to Murrayfield at the weekend, we're joined in the studio with former England midfielder Kieron Dyer. We're going to take your calls on last night's football from 9. Here's what one listener said to us earlier. This is Harry the Hammer.
Man United have gone away to Sevilla, who ain't good at home, right? They haven't even tried.
It's Muppet, he's got no idea.
He reckons it's a good result. Sevilla get one goal.
Sevilla beaten once in all season.
Typical talkSPORT listener.
And utter arrogance that he thinks he's going to get through. They're nothing more than the Europa League side. They're a disgrace to English.
Steady, Harry. Steady. You're going to Anfield at the weekend, pal. Right, what do you think? 08717 22 33 Did David did De Gea save United's Champions League last night? He was special, wasn't he? Or we've been a bit too harsh on Manchester United. It's 0-0. It's in Spain. They come back to Old Trafford in a few days' time and probably will knock Sevilla out. Are we being too harsh? Or are United too negative? 08717 22 33 Right, here we go. Welcome back to Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast Show. We're going to talk to Kieron. We're joined the studio by former Ipswich Newcastle, Kieron Dyer. Now, this is his new, it's the autobiography, All Too Soon, Smart Too Late. There's some brilliant stories in Kieron's book, one of which tells the tale of a trip to Ayia Napa in the summer of 2000 for the players that did not make the England Euro 2000 squad. The likes of Rio, Frank Lampard, Michael Duberry, Jonathan Woodgate, Robbie Keane, Ashley Cole, all feature. So let's hear the Ayia Napa Premier League on-sea extract from Kieron's book, voiced by our very own Whirled Squirrel, Beaky.
We'd roll into a nightclub straight off the beach, salty and sandy and just a vest and shorts, and they'd let us straight in. Jonathan Woodgate and I would be throwing pints of beer at each other in a packed bar. Woody and I drank WKD most of the time. We said it stood for Woody and Kieron Dyer. I was a young single man. Girls were throwing themselves at me. I was so wasted one night I slept through one of England's matches in the Euros. You weren't allowed to fall asleep. Michael Duberry and Andy Myers were the senior players, and Andy was as hard as nails. So what he said was the law. After our first day, there were some pictures emerged in the press. The headline said we were animals. But you know what? It was the end of the season. We thought we were invincible, and we didn't give it.
Steady, Beaky. Beaky doesn't swear. He doesn't swear normally. Kieron, I could see you shaking your head there. That was a while ago. When you look back now, do you think, oh my God?
Of course, yeah. I was an immature kid. Like you said, we had wealth, fame, and I can only talk for myself, and it went to my head, and I say in the book, you kind of become intoxicated with it. Like you said, hearing that back, and when I read it back, it was cringe. And again, it's not football mentality, because I think British men, when they go to Ayia Napa and Malia, they have a certain expectations of how they're going to act and drinking games and stuff.
And let's not forget, Lawrence, and you'll know this one too with the boys as well, you feel so fit. You feel invincible almost.
Yeah, of course you do, and it's the end of the season. You've got a few months off. You're young. You're letting your hair down. You're going out to enjoy yourself, as a lot of British holiday makers do. I guess you nowadays, absolutely, you've got a responsibility because you're out there in the public eye, and possibly you behave very differently and use your pre-season or your post-season in a different way, but. We're talking about a long time ago, and
but are we arrogant, Kieron? Footballers with money in their pockets, loads of hours to burn. We train, we're finished at 12:30.
I don't think it's an arrogance. I think we're put on a pedestal. You don't queue to go in clubs. You get special attention. You get this. You don't queue to go restaurants. You know what I mean? So you get given all this, and you get a sense of entitlement. If you know what I mean, it becomes the norm, and it's not the norm, and you're in a privileged situation. Like I said, I'm an immature kid, 20, 21, and especially at football clubs, you didn't get the guidance at the time. Now there's structures in place. I do the 16 at Ipswich. They've got a welfare officer, they've got a psychologist, they've got everything, which is the way it should be. But we're young kids, and listen, it's not an excuse, but young kids, poor, then millionaires overnight with all the fame and the temptation, and you're going to make mistakes, and that was a monumental mistake.
We mentioned money there. Now, the gambling, this interests me, because I'm still a gambler, but every now and again I have a little
Responsibly, Al.
bit.
Responsibly.
Yeah. Well, maybe sometimes not, but it can take over your life.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't have a problem like that. But this card school, Kieron, very interesting. We played cards in Ipswich, and as you know where we live, on the coach to the northeast or down the south, it's a long way down the southwest, so you've got hours on a coach. How bad did it get?
I touch on it from the Kevin Keegan and the Sven and the start of Sven in the 2002 World Cup. It was fine. It was never out of control. A few £100 here. No one lost massively, and I think Peter Crouch did an article after I come out about Euro 2004, because obviously breaking my leg shortened my career, and he said that when he carried on playing to England way after the 2004, that the levels that they played at were never as bad as 2004, but 2004 was when, even playing, I sensed this is just ridiculous. And again,
people would get off the coach, and before they got off, we get the checkbook out. How much do you? How much do you? How much? Sign checks, and whatever. That can't look. As I say, I love a bet, and it was good fun. But when it gets too far, it's got to play in your mind. How am I going to tell my missus?
I tried to give an insight of, everyone talks about why we never succeeded as a national team, and I talk about playing with fear for your country, and then I talk about that card score in particular, because
do you think that
if you're owing £100,000 and
Yeah.
you're playing France in 72 hours, I don't care how much money you're on a
you
week.
think that could affect a player?
Well, I'm just speaking from my personal, and
Yeah.
I was 40 grand down at one stage, and
Yeah.
it was on my mind.
Without prying, but that wouldn't even be a week's wages.
No, it wasn't, but still, 40 grand. Listen, I know 40 grand is, some people don't get that in a year.
Yeah.
And 40 grand is a lot of money, and if I would have had 2 or 3 bad days on the trot, then.
But is that our fault as players, or do the clubs give it? For instance, the young City boy, he's not played a Premier League game, Kieron. He lives in a £2 million pad, and he's on, what was that, forget now, was it 25 grand a week or something? He's not played one game. Is it, are we destroying young players?
No, again, I just think where we didn't have these structures in place, you go away with England, you're away, again, this is not an excuse, you go away with England, you're in a hotel for basically a month to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Because England are so big, you can't go wandering the streets, and we're competitive people. Well, I am, and I don't think I can lose at anything, whether it be a race down the road, playing football with my mates. I'm so competitive, and you always think you're going to win, and having that time and that competitive thing is where the trouble starts.
Right, Kieron. So old too soon, smart too late. My story out now. Where are you going signing today? Are you?
No, I'm seeing someone else in here doing my football story, which is about 2 hours. So a slog.
Yeah. But you're glad you're doing this, and you're in the perfect place, looking after the under-16s. If anyone's got a problem or the wrong ideas of where they're going, you're the perfect guy.
I joke down at the club saying that every 16-year-old, when they come into the club full time, they should have a copy of my book, and this is what you don't do.
Yeah.
Because it will open up their eyes.
Brilliant. Old too soon, smart too late, Kieron Dyer. Kieron, good luck, pal.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Right.
2 minutes to 9.
Reason behind the story.
This was part of the family as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. And also, when I was speaking to Oliver Holt, who wrote the book, I always said I read a lot of sports biographies, and they're very watered down and politically correct, and I wanted to be brutally honest, and it's quite good looking through my eyes. You talk about the golden generation and what can go wrong, and with the wealth, the temptation, and the fame, and I think people can see that the way I've told the story.
1 or 2 of the players unhappy that maybe you name in the book?
I'm not so sure about that, because I dig myself out. I don't really dig any. When I talk about the gambling, I don't name any names. So it was never my pint to ruffle feathers. I just wanted to talk about myself, and if I was going to dig someone out, I was going to be digging myself out, and I think I've done that.
Lawrence, and rugby?
Listen, it's a very sensitive subject. When you know you're talking about players, I think. I mean, I've written an autobiography. You've probably coloured it in a couple of times, Al. You know, I think it's about having the honesty to be able to put down in writing anything that you would be prepared to say to someone if they were in front of you. So you played with those players. You know, if you can have that honest conversation with them and feel happy with that, then you can put it down in a book. But you know, it can. Often when you say things to people or you say it on air on the radio, when you put it down in paper, it can look and feel different to the players. But you've got to admire Kieron's honesty in being prepared to do that.
Kieron, the sexual abuse, and it's not nice to talk about. You know, I blew the lid on someone as well. Is this just a tiny wee bit which is actually out there that people are still scared to come forward?
Yeah, it's very taboo, especially in teenage boys. When I'm doing a book launch and I've got a charity involved, and some of the stats they told me about it being so taboo